Beth Ann.
And I welcome you today to CSC Talk Radio. It's my honor, my privilege, and my pleasure to be here with you today, and it is Friday. It is Free-for-All Friday. So let's cut to the chase and get straight to the show. It's Free-for-All Friday, and this you must know. Your voice will be heard across the heart of this land. Your opinion is important, and I think you're just grand. It's Free-for-All Friday. Your calls are all welcome. We'll talk about almost anything. We deny very seldom. So get your coffee ready. It's the brew that is true. Let's get on with the show. This day is for you. It is Free-for-All Friday. The number to call is 877-895-5410. That's 877-895-5410. Well, we talked earlier this week about the hate that is in the air here in the USA today. And, you know, it's just almost disgusting. Well, it's not almost. It is disgusting. Apparently, we have a couple of generations that weren't taught by their mamas to speak without vulgarity and nastiness in their language. Where's the pumice bars today, Mom? Now, I have a little story about a pumice bar. How many of you ever got your mouth washed out with soap? Well, my boys know what that is. And you didn't have to do it too many times. One boy had it more times than others. But I was kidding them one day. We were on a trip, and they were misbehaving in the back seat. Now, they were not little boys at this time. And I told them, don't make Mama get the pumice bar. And they didn't know what the pumice bar was. Now, I had used lava soap when I washed their mouth out with soap. But I found out later, and the one that had to get it washed out the most, it was easier to use and harder for them to rinse it out if you use like a liquid soap like your dish soap. Now, I know everybody's thinking, oh my gosh, you were a mean mother. I know I was. I was a mean mother. But they cleaned up their language, and I didn't have to worry about them, at least not in front of their mama, talking vulgarly. So where's the pumice bars, Mom? Where are the pumice bars? Everything here today is either racist or it's sexist. You know, the fast food was racist. The salads were sexist. And I've got another story today that is just, I don't know, it's just crazy. Nothing can be just because. Nothing is just, you know. It's not just a common cold. You got to have the virus or the flu. Sometimes it just is, right? We have an epidemic of ill-informed and overdramatic people in this world, especially in this nation today. Today is Free-for-All Friday, and we're going to take phone calls, 877-895-5410. We're going to talk about, well, if I get to talk about what I have in my hand, we'll go from chocolate to armpits. I know, that's pretty disgusting, right? Shutdowns to marches, and lots of news to cover, but I believe Daniel, I haven't talked to him all week, but I've seen some stories that have been going across the airwaves or across the Twitter and all this and that, and Facebook and the news pages that I check. So I'm fairly certain Daniel has had a busy week, but I do plan on him calling, and he should call in the second part of the show. I saw this on the Generation Z. Now, you know, they've got all these generations named. But it says in here that the Generation Z people, they are the ones that were born from 1995 to now. And they are taking an extreme liberal view in the role of government. So they're the ones, more so than the millennials, that are looking at and embracing socialism and liberalism. The research is important as Generation Z moves toward adulthood and enters the electorate head. You know, they're going to vote, and in 2020 they'll be voting for president. So it is important that we know what's on their mind. It says just 30% of the Generation Z adults surveyed by Pew, this is a Pew poll, said they approved of Trump's job performance compared with 29% of millennials. 38% of adults from Generation X, people born in the early to mid-1960s to the early 1980s, and 43% of the baby boomers, people born between 1946 and 1964. Anyway, I think my concern is this Generation Z and some of the millennials. They were the ones with the mamas without the pumice bars. They were the ones who mamas didn't leave a list of chores to do by the time she got home. Now, mine liked to, in my defense, or in truth, maybe I should say in truth, my boys like to start their jobs on the chore list about 5 o'clock when they knew I was leaving the job in Jeff City and heading home, and they knew they had about 25 to 30 minutes. Needless to say, a lot of the jobs didn't get done, and their father tried to explain to them, if you just have a pitcher of iced tea ready for your mother when you get home, she might be more forgiving. So they did start at least making sure I had a pitcher of tea all ready for supper when I got ready to start fixing supper, and I could at least have a glass of tea when I got home. So I think we have to go back and look how these children were raised. There's a commercial on the air right now where this little boy, and he's staying with his grandma, and he's playing video games, and when he's walking the dog, he's got the dog on a treadmill. He's not out walking the dog, and he's supposed to be raking leaves, and he's sitting there in the middle of these leaves. He's sitting on a chair, and he's got a leaf blower, and he's just blowing them around, and then he calls his grandma. And he asks her for another grape soda, and she kind of gives this look into the camera, because she's walking around with a cane trying to answer the phone, and this is an old house phone that's going ring-a-ding-a-ling-a, And so we have a generation of these children that haven't had the chores. They're not made to get up and do anything. When he was playing baseball and she's hollering for lunch is ready, he says, "One more inning, Grandma." Well, he's playing baseball on a video game. It's electronic. He's not actually playing baseball. And it's encouraging people to get their parents and whoever's raising these children to get them outside and get them moving because it strengthens their bones. And we all know that we need to have our bones strengthened. Dealing with a couple of broken bones myself in the last year. So if we don't teach the children well when they're young, if these children never had to work for anything, they didn't have to earn anything. No chores. They didn't know how to, my boys got married. They knew how to do laundry. Now, one tries to tell his wife he doesn't. He didn't, but I look at her and I go, yeah, he did laundry. But if they don't get taught at home that, you just don't have things handed to you, they're going to continue to think you have things handed to you. Whether it's their neighbor, their friend that should just give them something, or their government should just give them something. So we have a generation, and we're going to blame the parents, not the kids, that don't realize you get rewarded when you work, not when you sit. So that's where we're dealing with some of these things with the socialism. And it's pretty scary that we have a Democrat Party right now that is against the Constitution. And yes, that's what they're against. They're against us being a republic. They keep screaming democracy. They don't want the people to be in charge. They don't want, accept it when you vote, and then they really don't care either. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. It is Free for All Friday. Your calls are welcome. We'll talk about almost anything you want to talk about at 877-895-5410. That's 877-895-5410. Valentine's Day is only a little less than a month away. I don't know. Chocolate may be getting expensive. 877-895-5410, and we will be right back.